We are back for episode number 7, or the seventh layer of Dante's Inferno. And today I have been tasked with the duties of introducing this latest episode for Jeff Howard, one of our more favorite people in the world of film and all things curation thereof. Jeff, how are you doing today on this wondrous occasion of November 1st, 2024, and this may be your final broadcast into the interstellar universe that we live in?
Well, it might be our final time sitting at the mics
Together
in a democratic nation. Is that what you're implying?
A little bit
November
of that.
1st. But by the way, my only note on your introduction, which was lovely, is you didn't introduce yourself.
I didn't. I was being presumptive that the audience already knew who I was, considering that they've listened to the other 6 previous episodes.
And your name will be in the title of the episode.
Absolutely, as well. And I will probably be jailed by then as well, by the time this hits the air as well.
Have you already voted in Atlanta?
I have already voted in Atlanta.
So you voted in advance. In
Yes.
person? Mail?
Oh, in person.
I only
In
do
advance.
In person.
I only feel comfortable in person as well. I mean, it's a weird thing. I have turned into an old black man, and I feel the need to go down to the polling center and stand there in line and demand my freedom of expression.
And it feels good to do it. I do it in person because I love the feeling.
Yeah.
And yes, because we get a certain amount of news where people claim that mail-in ballots are fraudulent. And I'm like, fine, I will. Even 4 years ago, wearing a mask, I did it in person because I was
I
like,
did too.
fuck this shit.
Yes.
I don't want anyone claiming that my ballot's not legit.
Right. Because your ballot is legit, but they want to make it illegitimate.
There are some who think a vote not for them is a vote that shouldn't be counted. Is that what should we discuss it right off the bat? I mean, this is our, we always.
But that's the foundation of how this country was built is on that principle of not everybody is allowed to vote or should vote or is, qualified to vote in their eyes.
Very much, very much. We have traditions.
We do. I mean, we must keep them up. I mean, there's that great legend of how they didn't want Jews to own property in Missouri, as they were taming the West as well. They wanted to limit the number of non-Christians in the new West as well.
Kind of explains a lot about what's going on today.
A little bit, just a little bit.
Just
Absolutely.
because we're so we are sitting down. You named it. It's November 1st.
Yeah,
Which means Tuesday
is
election day.
Election day. Yeah.
Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday.
This is the last
and
weekend.
we know that there probably won't be a result till Wednesday or Thursday or
I would
Friday
imagine
or
I'm going to
Monday.
call it as at least my over-under is the best case scenario a week, worst case scenario first week of December. That's how
Although
I see
clearly
it.
before by 5 p.m. Eastern,
Sure, they'll call it.
someone will claim they won.
Sure, but then when do the skirmishes break out? I mean, I have friends that literally think that like wingnuts are going to just start running around with 9mm AKs and sawed-offs and start attacking people.
But they're all chicken shit.
Agreed. That is one of the things that I've noticed about conservatives. You hit them in the nose, and it's like punching a bully. Because when you are in the wrong, you are inherently chicken shit. It's one of the great things of the universe that's a truism. Because, people that walk in truth, they don't want to fight with anybody. They're not starting issues.
Yeah, no, I don't walk around going,
No.
the earth is a sphere and let me convince you. I'm comfortable.
Right.
I'm comfortable with the earth
Sure.
being a sphere.
Right.
A little thick in the middle,
Well, aren't we all?
That's from, and that's me trying to talk about science because it's a more comforting
It
subject.
does. It is cumbersome. you stumbled your way through that. That was nice, though. But you are educated in California, so you get a pass.
I went to a university in California. Yeah. One of the best.
Yeah, but you went to high school in
subsidized-
California in the vaunted era of going to high school. You know, like we all fantasize about having gone to high school in California in the 1980s, which is hilarious, by the way, because there's so many movies that have documented this.
Right.
It
So
looked
for-
like you guys are having a good time, but you're all idiots. You know
for
that,
for
right?
Gen X. So Gen X,
Sure.
because so
we
many
envied you.
films.
We thought that was so cool. Oh, wow, I wish I could have hung out with them there, you know, and gone to the mall.
and we were just like everybody else.
I want to
didn't
meet Jennifer Jason Leigh and Phoebe Cates.
Yeah, that would've
yeah.
been-
They said, "Look at you, you changed. You got a little warmer when I said Phoebe Cates."
Everybody
Who did
of
it?
my generation.
Well, absolutely, but that's the point.
Everyone attracted to women were like,
Well,
we were like, what the hell did I just
what was
see?
that? What was that? And then
was-
Kevin Klein said, "Thank you very much," and she is
yeah,
off.
she
the
might be
market.
20 years younger than
Who cares?
me.
He was
but
he was on it.
This is my
Good
but-
for him, though. He's a very charismatic guy.
And they've stayed together
Isn't
too.
he a Jew?
They both is.
Oh wow! So she's in my
I believe
top
Kate.
10.
I think her family was cats, and then they changed it.
Okay,
to try
so
to pass.
she's in my, you know, I have my running list of super hot Jewish women. So Bob Newhart's wife is on it. She was Jewish.
in real life.
Look at you. Yes,
I don't
she
know.
was. No,
I don't
I
know whose
researched
wife
it.
was.
She's
Really?
Jewish. Kim Novak from, you know, Hitchcock, Vertigo, Jewish.
Yeah. Oh yes, yes. I thought.
Yeah, she's pretty freaking hot.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. And then, I can't remember Bob Newhart's wife. What's her name? And she was in a Hitchcock film too. She was in The Birds.
I could look it up. I was about
God,
to say.
that's terrible.
I was
I'm
about to
embarrassed.
say.
I'm so
I wouldn't
embarrassed.
look if I was.
But
if
she's
I was-
hot too. I thought she was so hot when I was a kid. But she's Jewish.
Of all the funny things, Bob Newhart, who's not Jewish,
But he acted like it.
I mean, I don't care if the women are Jewish or not, but he actually, all his TV wives were quite
Bob's not
nice to look at.
Bob's not stupid.
TV.
Bob's not stupid. He played stupid. There's a difference.
I saw a hilarious meme, and I hope he really did say it, but there was a thing where it attributed itself to Bob Newhart, and the joke was, I don't want to denigrate people who listen to country music, but if you listen to country music, I should explain that denigrate means to put down.
See, he's a clever guy.
Yeah,
I like that.
that's where we go.
need a little bit more of the Bob Newhart sensibility in this world now. He actually did a comedy album in the 1960s about the White House or whatever. Did a whole thing, a whole send up, as they used to say back then.
By the way, I'm going to throw another easy on the eyes Jewess at you. Ringo Starr's wife, Bond girl Barbara Bach.
Barbara Bach, yeah. She's in
Yeah,
there too. So.
I think maybe the name was Bachman or something.
There was, I think it was. Bach.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, that's
Right. Lady Gaga is Jewish too.
and not to really. I thought she was an Italian.
I don't think she's Italian. Ariana
Stephanie-
Grande is Italian.
Yeah,
I thought she was Jewish. Maybe, I don't know. We got to research that one.
because
Because I thought Ariana Grande was Jewish, but no, she is Italian. And then I thought she was mixed race, and then no, she's Italian.
I had no idea.
Yeah.
I once gotten. Well, anyway, we're talking about. This is not the subject we intended to discuss.
No, but now we're talking about attractive Jewish women.
Attractive Jewish women. Yeah. Which, yeah. Well, that was because Phoebe. We got on that subject because you finally informed me with something that, by the way, as a third generation Angelino, totally unaware that people who didn't grow up here were watching TV and seeing movies and saying to themselves, that's the place to be.
Well, absolutely. I mean, think of all the TV shows that were set too, like all the teen shows and coming of age shows and things like that. It was always set in Los Angeles, you know,
Yeah.
with the pinnacle of that being Baywatch. You know, it's and 21 Jump Street, and like it's just LA was the place to be a youth.
Square
in the
Pegs,
80s.
maybe.
Yeah, I think it was a Boy Meets World, and what's the one with Tiffany Amber Thiessen in it too? Is she Jewish?
I don't know if she is.
I don't know.
If she is,
if she
throw her
is,
on the
well,
list.
amen. If she is,
Oh, that was the one with Zach.
Saved by the Bell.
Saved by the Bell.
I'm gonna go out on a limb here and say Tiffany Amber Thiessen is Jewish.
That is a limb.
I mean, I'll take that limb. That's a limb.
You're comfortable. You're comfortable
Dude,
saying that.
That's a limb. Still, she does a cooking thing on Instagram or whatever. You know, plated dishes and stuff like that. She's still delightful. It's almost irritating at times. I'm like, God damn it, get old, please.
You don't like. I get it.
You know.
But she's also not. There is something I really appreciate about that particular person, which is, doesn't conform to all beauty standards. I don't. No. When I've seen like she's not plastic surgerying her face, and she's not starving herself. She's a real human being, and she's showing that you can be beautiful without. I have an issue with. My apologies to people who are addicted to plastic surgery, but like I bring something to it emotionally where I feel bad that people feel they have to live to some kind of standard that means ending up looking like some kind of Joan Rivers-y alien.
And here's the interesting part about that. We don't investigate that in our society. It's not discussed. It's not talked about. It's rarely written about. It's not in documentaries or anything. Like, no one interviews those people. No one talks to those people and just asks them why. We are more quick to ask someone about their political affiliation than we are, why do you have lip fillers? And you are a short, skinny, blonde-haired woman who naturally doesn't have lips that big.
Yeah. And why is your neck 62 and your face 29?
You're mean.
Okay, that was cruel.
Mean. That was a drive-by. That was literally like
I fired shots.
A crypt blood.
I only say that because as of late, I finally noticed what my neck looks like in the mirror, and I'm like, there is no hiding.
Gobble.
Creeping up on 60. What can you say?
You're disgusting. Like, I can't even believe you're looking at your neck. Who are you? Wear a turtleneck and just keep it moving.
That's a good idea.
He's looking at your neck.
You have a neck beard.
I love the idea of you sitting there in the morning looking at your neck, touching your neck, and your wife walks in and goes like, what is wrong with you?
Oh, it's more like I'm standing at the foot of the bed going, look at this. Look at this. Do you realize how old your husband is? It's pretty, but I enjoy it.
I feel like Kevin Kline. Oh my God, my neck is Kevin Kline. What would
happen if I ran into Phoebe Cates and Kevin Kline, at a bar in Beverly Hills, and they invited me back to their hotel room? They would look at my neck and go, no,
get out of here. No,
yeah,
this isn't gonna work.
This was almost gonna be the best night of your life,
right? But no,
because Phoebe would watch you and Kevin just. That'd be the best night ever. What are you going to do?
For her. But then she would say, your neck. Can you just angle it a little bit more this way so I can't see your neck?
Don't take off that turtleneck, buddy.
Keep the turtleneck.
Keep on the turtleneck. Wear a black turtleneck like a mime. All right.
Kevin Kline clocks in about 20 years older than you, too, so it gets pretty weird.
Yeah.
You do realize that, right? He is an old man now.
He's 70-something, right?
Yes, he is. Wonderful actor, though.
Wonderful. Comic and serious.
Unbelievable. I love him in most things.
You make me want to watch A Fish Called Wanda again. I haven't seen that for 30 years.
He loved him in Biko with Denzel Washington. He's in that.
Wow, I had forgotten his involvement in that.
He's got some real deal chops.
For sure.
Oh, yeah.
All right. I'm gonna shift us back to the election.
Back to the lecture at hand.
Well,
yeah.
I mean, that was our inspiration to sit down again. No,
that was our way of coping with the fact that the world may be coming to an end, which I don't actually believe, by the way. Which is the part I do want to talk about. That I'm tired of all of these
of the
bleeding heart
gloom.
nutter liberals who think like the world's coming to an end. They almost have a hard on for it, You would think they would be mobilized to say, hey, we want to save the planet, but they seem to be resolute with the idea of things just suck. Who cares? Whatever. And I think that that's really sad. That's the biggest thing that I've gotten out of this. It's not the crackers with the bed sheets over their heads. I'm used to that. That's old hat. What I am disturbed about are these people that are allegedly progressives, allegedly young as well, allegedly informed, allegedly smart, allegedly astute, that are cowering and sticking their heads in the sand, and they're being really negative. You know, we know the ship is taking water. Shut the hell up and help us bail the water and stop talking about the ship taking water. That's the part that really is getting to me right now in this crunch time. You know, it's the fourth quarter. We're down by 10. No whining. I don't want to hear it. You going to play or not? Or go sit on the bench? Yeah, and I think a lot of them have decided to sit on the bench, and I'm offended.
And
I'm
in
taking
truth,
names.
we're not even down by 10, right? Like,
no,
we are obviously both rooting for Harris.
It's close. It's tight.
And
it's tight.
It's a tie, and we're in overtime, right. Or we're just praying that we hit a three before they do.
Exactly. And why would anybody in that situation be saying we're going to lose? The presumption is if you're tied in overtime, we're going to win this game. There's no other conversation. And I am extraordinarily disappointed in today's youth moving forward in America, in particular, privileged youth in America. The ones that have the ability to make a change, the ones that have the ability to get out there and do something, say something, and be about something, they are running in the other direction because they're scared. And they're scared to take a punch. They're scared of conflict. They're scared of issues. They're scared of being cursed at, spit upon, whatever. But they don't understand. They get to be who they are because there was an entire generation of people before them, all the way back into the Rosa Parks days and the dinosaurs, who endured that. Those black people and those Jewish people, World War II, post-World War II, sacrificed not only for their cultural groups, for everybody. And so these like little pissy, privileged suburban kids don't understand that these other people made great sacrifices for them. Now, they enjoy wearing them on their T-shirts, but they don't want to get out there and stand for what they stood for. That's problematic to me.
That's problematic, and we will know next week sometime what percentage of people under age 25 voted, but
they're going to be embarrassed.
But we know it's going to be a percentage that's lower than over 70.
They're crazy. I mean,
and the future is theirs.
Yeah, it's theirs, and they don't even want it. They don't want it. What do they want? You know?
And they're overwhelmingly, were they to vote, they'd be. Everyone knows demographically
they'd be terrified. The right would be terrified if these kids were coming out to vote.
If 80% of the under 25 voted. Yeah.
Right. That's why the conservatives have to hurl the half-charred carcasses of black men at people to scare them. You know, oh, these black men, they're all voting for Trump now. Come on. There's not enough black men to fucking swing the vote. There's not. You know, let's get real here for a second.
But of course, if Trump loses, it's the Jews' fault. He already made that clear, right?
Well, I mean, duh. He's like, everybody knows that. Well, it's always the Jews' fault.
Why are they not voting?
Anytime you do lose, it's a Jew's fault.
If they had any brains at all, they'd be voting for me.
He was saying you're not even a good Jew. Wow. And he's a terrible Christian. But he feels empowered to evaluate Jews.
It is. And I think that's the mood, right?
Sure.
The cause of the mood is just trying to wrap our minds around the fact that, I mean, I guess kind of see it as thirds. 1/3 is on our side. 1/3 wants to vote for Trump, and 1/3 doesn't vote. And,
they're morons.
And
they're crazy. But what's it going to take? They're going to have to be like, rounded up or given a star on their lapel or sent to a camp or quarantined to a ghetto to get the point. Like, that's crazy.
No idea.
It's like they just have this weird isolationist inside of isolationist belief system that somehow nothing's ever going to happen to them.
And I can't wrap my head around the fact that it appears 50-50, even though it's 1/3, and then 1/3 staying home. But I have a hard time understanding not being repulsed by Trump.
I agree.
Because, I mean, even if, I can like bend my mind a little and be open-minded and say, yeah, I could, I understand, I could understand being pro-life, and I can understand being pro-tariff. I can understand a lot of things. But I can't understand watching him give a speech and not going, That guy, that's not my guy. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I can't understand finding him appealing.
Right.
I understand saying, I do know people who plan to vote for him. Like, I don't like him, but whatever, their identity's wrapped up in being Republican or something. So they're like, I can't vote Democrat no matter what. I'm like, fine, that's,
Right, but you're voting for an idiot. You're voting for a loser.
Yeah,
You're voting for a
but at
meatball.
least, but I mean, I see people
Right.
I don't know.
Right.
And a friend posts a picture of Trump dressed as a garbage man and saying, this guy's a hero. And then I see all the commenters, I love him so much. He's so amazing. I love him so much. And I'm like, God, I just want to say, I mean, why? I just please explain to me, like, why you love him. Because
it feels safe. It puts them in a position or a situation where they feel like they will still be on top. You and I can't understand them because we've never lived in a world where we feel like we're on top. It's like you walk into a room and you say, hi, my name is Jeff and I'm Jewish. That's a different outcome than if you say you don't bring it up at all and you just kind of skate your way through for as long as you can until they figure it out. Or you do something that is radically different from them. For me, I walk into a room and it's like, okay, are you a person of color who takes pride in themselves? Who stands up for their 5,000, 10,000 year history as a human being? Or are you this knuckling, contrite person who's this weird Tim Scott kind of guy, who's just going to do whatever they want? And they figure that out. And
you're implying that they just say to themselves, you either know your place.
Yeah.
Or we don't accept
and
you.
Now they reward you for knowing your place. There, a generation ago, it was just like, oh, you're Jewish, you don't know your place, get out of here. Oh, you're black, you don't know your place, get out of here. Now, if you play the game, they're like, okay, here's something for you. We'll pretend like we'll like you. Oh, yeah, we support Israel. Or what? They'll say whatever they need to say to you to make it look good for them because they know that it's self-reflective. They're getting something out of it now by playing ball with Jews and blacks that play ball with them. That's the difference now. But it isn't making the world a better place. The world's only a better place when everybody gets to be themselves.
According to us. Yeah. And what you're explaining to me is according to these people I don't understand.
Right.
They feel like Trump is their hero because he's saying
he maintains the status quo.
All those people don't count. I'm gonna send all the brown people back where they came from.
20 million.
And you can feel like you're back in. This is your country. I'm giving it back to you.
Right. Even though it's not. And they stolen, and it never was. And they want to create the illusion that this is a white country, and this is a Christian country, and it's not. It's a lie. And instead of trying to unpack the lie and get back to the truth, they want to keep piling on the lie. And they're comfortable with it. And they need us to play along with it. They need the Jews to play along with it. They need the blacks to play along with it. Because if we pull out of this, so much collapses in this society. Style, fashion, music, sports, finance.
That's all the stuff that
everything just crumbles. and even with Latinos too. If they mobilized against them as well, then there's a lot that goes away. We all need each other. And this delusion that they have that we have to sit in the back seat while they get to sit in the front seat and drive the train. That is so incredibly antiquated and so incredibly archaic and so incredibly mid-20th century. And that's what they want. They want to knock us all the way back to that, the 1950s. They want us to stay parked in the Eisenhower era, everything pre-Kennedy.
Where it is understood that your income will be lower than a white man's income, even when you're doing the same job.
And you live with it.
And also a white man's income will be higher than a white woman's income if they're doing the same job. Right. All this, but it's basically like Yeah, it's
Exactly.
the rules have been
Right.
so in their opinion, they've just been really upset for the last
Sure.
well, probably just since Obama won. They've been upset at
Well,
the idea that people are equal to them.
That it's real.
Yeah,
That
it finally happened.
it's hit. It's real. It's finally
Right.
happened. We've all known it or suspected it or it's been out
we
there.
talked about the melting
about-
pot.
Right. Ali went to jail for it. You know what I mean? It's just like, King took a bullet for it. Harvey Milk took a bullet for it. There have been many people that have been hurt, injured, kicked to the side for it. But now they can't get rid of him. They can't. The Kaepernick thing was just one of the things that set the whole thing off. They took his career. There's no question about it. And we still haven't unpacked that and still haven't talked about that. But they couldn't put the toothpaste back in the tube after that. Once they did that to Kaepernick, they completely and totally exposed themselves as full-blown racists and fear-mongers.
Absolutely. There hasn't been a documentary or anything yet about that.
I don't think one that's any good. I don't think one that is profound. I don't think one that is really sort of indicting this 400-year history of oppression that we have. The fact that this person could not even protest. We got a line. There's a line out there that says, here's where you can't do something. It's the same line that killed King. It's the same line that killed Emmett Till. It's the same line that allowed America to turn its backs on Jews as they're being incinerated. There's a line. We'll talk about it all the way up to this point, and then we're not going to talk about it anymore. Can't bring it up. Sorry.
And I find it culturally significant that Kaepernick was raised by a white family, right? He was adopted and raised by a white family.
He was biracial by birth, and then adopted by a white family. And at the end of the day,
his cultural and personal and familial education was, you are equal to people.
Absolutely.
But
they took that as a racial
So he didn't
assault.
have the playbook they wanted him to have.
Exactly, because they created the system that says he was going to go past as white, and he's not. He doesn't want to be that.
This is the movie I want made.
Absolutely.
That dives into his upbringing.
Absolutely.
And all that.
Right, exactly. And in spite of the things that he went through, some of those things will be similar to what you went through and what I went through as well, for being different and for being in a category that people don't necessarily understand. You, me, and Kaepernick could probably go have a beer and identify with each other. That's what they don't want to happen. And even the creative artists and the filmmakers that try to portray him, they still miss those points. And even if they are trying to hit them, at times, some of them don't have the acuity level to be able to navigate in that space, to be able to get the point across in spite of the thick-headed nature of society. That's the filmmaker's job. If somebody is stupid, you have to be good enough as a filmmaker to make them smart. How do you get somebody that lives in the mountains of Appalachia to love Mozart? As a musician, that's your job. Figure it out. Or change professions.
You start small, and you win.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. That's what, in spite of whatever, John F. Kennedy and Robert F. Kennedy's shortcomings were in their personal lives, the one thing that they were really good at, reaching people.
No, that's all the great successes. Understood
how to communicate. You got to learn how to, and we don't know how to communicate anymore in this society, especially as filmmakers. You run a film festival, you see a ton of films. Come on, you know the difference. It's a cavernous gap between the filmmakers that submit to your festival, and you're like, wow, that filmmaker really knows how to communicate and connect with an audience and get a message. And then this other one, with all good intentions, it's just a hot mess, and we can't screen it. But that one that's the hot mess thinks that they're hot shit. And then that's the one that's probably going to get the deal because they know how to walk and talk and play the game, and they know how to be contrite, and they know how to knuckle. and, whose ass to kiss. We're an ass-kissing society now, and that's the big ask that people are saying, like, on November 5th, please vote for ass-kissing. And that's what these people, to answer your question about the Trump thing, I kiss this guy's ass, things are going to work out. If I kiss Vice President Harris's ass, I may not get what I want. That's their big fear, And so they live in these mythologies of like, oh, she's not strong enough to be a leader, but Trump is. Trump is the biggest coward I have ever seen in my life. He's a child. He stands
up to no
one. He's a petulant child. And to think that
he doesn't even stand up to his own followers. His followers, in air quotes, when he tried to tell them to take the vaccine, he had to back off because even though he wanted to brag about Operation Warp Speed, was that what it was to get this vaccine made? I can still remember that shit. When he said, they yelled at him. They booed him, right? Mm-hmm. They booed him for saying take the vaccine. So then he pussed out and instead of standing by his principles.
Yeah. You know who are the people that get sick? A lot of people that get sick from COVID now are the ones that never took the vaccine.
Yeah. Who knows? Crazy. Maybe I got no data, but I would not be shocked if long COVID is more common too if you're not vaccinated, because of course you get a higher viral load.
It would stand to reason,
if you believe in the sciencey stuff.
Yeah, but you got to believe in the sciencey stuff, even though there are a lot of people who don't. But it's the sciencey stuff that allows us to live. That's why your toilet fucking flushes, because of the sciencey stuff. Do you wonder where your turds go? Like somebody's figured out the science of disposing of your turds.
I mean, and you're dangling a pretty big carrot in front of me because this is my favorite subject.
Turds?
Just how important plumbing is to society. Like the Romans fucking figured it out. Like indoor plumbing.
But that was science.
It's science and engineering. And it is the greatest miracle on earth.
It saved us from killing ourselves because when we didn't have it, look what happened.
We got the plague.
Exactly. You die.
The fact that like a 50-story building has toilets on every level that take human waste and send it somewhere safe, that is more amazing than the space program to me. Mm-hmm. But I love the space program. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah, I think it's terrific.
I adore my...
But there's been bias in the space program from the beginning. The astronauts that originally scored the highest to be astronauts to go into space were the women, not the men. They didn't go. They sent the men. The dumb men, the C- guys, went into space.
Test pilots, yeah.
Whatever.
You know what I mean?
But that's the game we play. They just gave a Medal of Honor to one of the black astronauts from back then that they never gave the opportunity to now. That's the game they play. That's the world we want to go back to. Because you know what they want? They want to like, hey, Fred, we'll give you, when you're 90, we'll give you a Medal of Honor because you were such a good guy for a long time. But you're not allowed to have an impact in society real time. And that includes you, too. How many Jews get to impact society real time? It's rare. We can start to count them on their hands. I mean, they gave Barbara Streisand a hard time for a long time, and she just sort of figured out a way to power through, But the list is short, of anybody of non-traditional status that has been allowed to impact society in real time. But with all due respect to someone like George Clooney, that clown got a lot of opportunity very quickly and very early in his life. He got the benefit of the doubt, So whatever. Brad Pitt, benefit of the doubt. Those guys were clowns when they were young. They weren't good actors. They were handsome guys. But that was about it. And they were allowed to get better and work it out. Quentin Tarantino was allowed to become a great filmmaker because everybody else helped him.
That's true. Older Italian guys watched out for him.
Well, and good for him. Good for him. But, for the rest of us, it's a battle. It's a struggle. It took forever for Steven Spielberg to win an Oscar. And that guy was like, his hair was on fire from, the 70s through the 80s. And it wasn't until, the 90s where they're like, okay, we got to give this guy Academy Awards. We have to acknowledge his talent.
For sure. Well, he had to
make them a lot of money.
Yeah.
He had to make them a
He
lot
made
of
tons
money.
But then he dipped into the Holocaust well, right?
Well, he had to go.
Well,
Well, yeah. I mean, you've got your well, I've got mine, and that's the one they want us to be in because that's what.
That's you can acknowledge us when we're just dealing with our topic,
they're ready to deal. They weren't even ready to deal with the Holocaust until the 90s. You know, it wasn't something that was mass marketed. You know, until the 90s. Blackness wasn't mass marketed until the 90s in filmmaking. Blackness in music was. Now, Jews were a big part of the music industry, especially within the realm of black music, you know. And so I consider that heavy lift of black music, 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, that's a Jewish black thing. That's not a black thing. That's not a Jewish thing. That's a Jewish black thing. Let's be real about this. Have we even told that story? Fuck no. Half of Berry Gordy's staff at Motown was fucking Jews.
That would be a better biopic than. Well, I saw the Berry Gordy musical that he produced.
Yeah.
About how great a guy he was.
He has to because
it's propaganda. Yeah, he's done some not so wonderful things.
He lives in Newport Beach. Keep your voice down.
But I want. I also want to talk. I mean, you're bringing up the connection between our communities and how I would love a documentary. I would love more information about. We had Mayor Tom Bradley here in Los Angeles and that was solely he was our mayor because of the Jewish black cooperation, collaboration, like just working together
completely.
And then those communities lost touch, and now
But why did they lose touch? But but that's that's another show. That's the investigative documentary.
Was it the Reagan years? I don't know.
Why all of a sudden did we wake up in a world where Jews and blacks don't like each other? What happened? I don't know either. I don't know.
Were the Reagan years so tough on the black community?
Something turned.
And people, the middle class got pushed down, and the Jews skated by and got to keep, getting more affluent. Is it socioeconomic?
I don't know. I know that we moved into a white neighborhood when I was a little boy, and the other family in the neighborhood that was different were the Novaks.
Yeah.
And they were the Jews. They were 2 houses down from us, and we were the blacks. And that's how it went. And I remember the white people in the neighborhood would say, oh, those Jesus killers and all this other stuff. And then I'm sure when they were around the Novaks, they'd be, oh, those Moulians, whatever. That's how they play the game.
Yeah,
they
play suburban Philly?
Yeah, absolutely. Even though the Novaks were a respectable family, and so were we.
Yeah.
And they worked and they earned their way. But it wasn't good enough. But that's the world that they want to go back to, where no matter what we do, we're not good enough.
Or as long as we acknowledge that they are superior to us.
Absolutely. And we don't push too hard or too long, and we kind of stay in our lane.
So, I got nowhere to go from there because this is, I guess, and all we need is for people to actually turn out next week. Or this weekend.
Just show up. Just show up.
Turn out, because turnout's everything.
Turnout is everything. And these young people need to show up. And for whatever reason, they're scared. And I don't get it. A big difference between our generation when we were younger and theirs is that people got in our faces. Now, in our generation, it was like, you really shouldn't, spank a kid or paddle a kid. It was more we were moving towards the timeout or talking to them or whatever. But you know what they did? They got in our face. Now, I'm not saying that they put their hands on us, but you thought they were going to put their hands on you when you got cornered doing something wrong. You knew they were mad at you. Now, these kids, they deal with them by not even acting like they are displeased with their behavior. They don't even make the kid feel a little bad about what they're doing. That part is messed up, because even in my world, when I have to deal with kids now, because I'm a man of a certain age, I've got people that work with me from time to time that can be in excess of 20 years younger than me. They think I'm mean. They think I'm a bully. I'm like, dude, you have no idea. You're not even close. This is not bullying. I am merely pointing out to you in a very serious tone the gravity of the situation that we're working in, what you have done wrong, or the mistake that you have made, and where you're going to have to fix it, or in other instances where you just literally can't make the mistake. There are spaces and places in life where mistakes are not allowed. That's it. And I'm helping you moving forward. These kids are soft. They're so soft. And they're not going to make it. And a lot of conservatives and a lot of Republicans know it. That's why they call them snowflakes. And they push them around and punch them in the face and, don't take them seriously, because they know these kids aren't going to go vote. They know it. They know they can drive a wedge between blacks and Jews. They know they can drive a wedge between black men and black women. Oh, black men are voting for Trump. I don't know a single brother voting for Trump. I don't. I literally don't. And the dudes that I know that voted for Trump in 2016, they're not voting for him now because they feel dragged and shafted or whatever. Trump makes promises to everybody. He made promises to Melania. Do you think they came true? Not really.
Amusingly, that used to be the one feature of him that was comforting, was that he accomplished nothing.
Right.
I mean, when he won in 2016,
sure,
he had promised to take away my health care on day one. He promised to do the fact that he accomplished nothing was helpful. But this time around, but I was going to add to what you were saying, which is they found the most successful message for them is the message that both sides are bad. They love to just say everybody lies. So Trump's lies are okay because everybody's lying. And it's like, no, honestly, Kamala is not lying at the same extent as Donald. Harris might have a perspective, but Harris's facts are not pulled out of her ass. Whereas Trump just likes to say, oh, I did everyone a favor with the Supreme Court because everyone wanted it to be a states issue anyway. Roe v. Wade needed to go to the states. And it's like, the only people who wanted to go to the states were the people who wanted it overturned.
Right.
And you're just full of shit.
Right. And now,
But the everybody's full of shit lie is very depressing because I hear it and I'm just like, how can you... This false equivalency is too much.
Full of shit floats on the insecurities of others. People that are afraid to call that out on the carpet.
And the desire to give up, right? Like the generation you're talking about that might stay home, even though they have the most reason to vote, is they just like to say, my vote doesn't matter.
They think whatever they got going on is just going to always be there. They think that the toilets are going to flush. They think there's going to be food at the grocery store. They think that the lights are going to stay on. They think that there's going to be an opportunity and a job for them out there. They think that their craft beer festival is going to keep happening every year. They're making horrible assumptions. The same way the Romans did.
That is the part that scares me.
And that's the part that scares me. And the people that are most reflective of this construct of the fall of Rome are these young people. It's these young people. Those are the people that I'm scared of. Those are the people that I think are dangerous. And it's not that they're going to do anything to me directly. They're going to do a lot to me indirectly by doing nothing.
And the proletariat. I did read a book about the fall of Rome during COVID, SPQR, amazing book. I know.
That sounds lovely.
I'm just like the biggest nerd. But the fall of Rome was all about the top 1% getting so greedy that it was basically the military, right? Everyone, almost everybody, all the men went to war, came back, and they were expecting a little bit of land, a little bit of money, enough to, get married and have a kid and shit. Mm-hmm. And they got nothing because those in the Senate decided all that mattered was their class.
Sure.
And that's why everyone turned to a dictator. Sometimes I wonder, maybe Caesar was like not that charismatic and not that great. Maybe he was more Trumpy than we know. And he was just the right rich prick at the right time. Because somehow it just takes someone from the upper of the upper class to somehow become a hero to the people that they have no respect for.
That's an interesting theory. And then we all know how it ends for Caesar. Et tu, Brutus. So
that would have been if Mitch McConnell had finally had let him get impeached.
Maybe, or Brutus is J.D. Vance.
That's not comforting.
It's not comforting. It's not comforting
because in spite of what he might have said 5 years ago, I kind of believe him. I kind of believe in his extremism. I don't think he's faking it.
No, I think JD's for real. But I don't, and I think that it's all a setup, and I think that he's throwing banana peels out there in front of Trump as well. JD's eyeballing his job. JD's not there to be vice president. That's my opinion. He's there to push his agenda. He's got his own belief system in place. And you know how you can really tell? You measure a man by his significant other. His significant other looks like a stuffed animal. It says nothing. It does nothing. And it is a crime that this is a woman of color as well. Because on one level, these conservatives want to say, oh, when it comes to that, color doesn't matter. Color doesn't matter to them as long as you do what they say. Color matters to them if your particular position is in conflict with theirs. Then color matters. I don't know how that woman deals with facing her own family. I don't know how that woman on a day-to-day basis deals with being a woman of color, having to face other people of color as well, and then raise her children and things like that. And that's how I judge JD. I judge JD by his family. And that says a lot about him. And he's a clown. And he's a nobody. And the same thing with Trump, too. But then you look at someone like Obama, great family. You look at someone like Harris, great family. These are decent people. The conservatives, they're willing to bet on an individual. And I don't see it that way. I see it as, I'm betting on a person that is a part of the community. I'm betting on a person that loves more than themselves.
More than themselves. And,
right.
And hilariously, you're talking about solid, genuine family values.
Ironically, isn't it? It's kind of strange,
it's so
right?
ironic that...
But Buttigieg has them, too. I think Buttigieg is a great family guy.
Of course.
Yeah, exactly.
No,
I got no problem with him.
And there are examples on the other side, but Trump is the greatest example of no family values whatsoever.
Exactly. I mean, they buried Nikki Haley. She's got good family values. One of her daughters is married to a black guy, too. I mean, but that didn't mean diddly to them.
Well, they might have gone with her as VP if they'd known they were facing Harris, right? But it was when they thought Biden was just going to dodder his way to a loss, they went with... Although, by the way, I want to add to what you were saying about JD. I have a very cynical... I think he's just Peter Thiel's puppet. I just think he knows that there's a multi-billionaire who, if he does everything this guy tells him to, this guy will always make sure...
He's taken care of.
He's in the top 1%.
Sure. So who's the Antichrist here? Is it Trump? Is it J.D. Vance? Is it someone behind a curtain somewhere?
I think it's the conservative billionaires. I think it's Musk and Thiel
right. The Antichrist is a board of governors. Is what you're telling me?
Yeah, an oligarch.
It's not one dude.
They're the oligarchs, and the oligarchs once again. And I just heard this actually on a podcast. I can't remember which one.
Not this one,
but that about Putin and about the fact that the oligarchs backed him at first, and then he took one of them right after he had power, and he destroyed the guy's life to show everyone, I can destroy your lives if you ever challenge me. Because, of course, the only people who could challenge him is an oligarch. And so these people who think Trump can be their little puppet, but they might have chosen better because Putin was a little too smart. Yeah, Trump can't do what Putin did.
is smarter than Trump.
That's a ridiculous comparison.
Yeah, Trump is on the level of
useful
the
idiot.
leader of like the leader of North Korea.
Yeah.
They're pretty
son of privilege.
Yeah,
whose
exactly.
only accomplishment is by birth.
Yeah, they're bozos.
And they spin their wheels and look embarrassing.
Sure.
And for some reason, just have embarrassing hair.
Right. They could do Bing Crosby and Bob Hope travel movies together.
But had they not been born, whatever, right? Yeah, they started the 100-meter race at meter 92, and then they're so proud of themselves.
And then they're just habitual liars.
And we broke the tape. I broke the
yeah.
tape. Look how amazing I am.
Yeah.
I guess deep down, maybe. Do you fall into the Trump knows he's a fraud thing, and that's why he acts the way he does?
I think all frauds know they're frauds. That's why Hitler shot himself in the head. Because they're afraid to face the reality of their fraudulent life choices. They're cowards, ultimately.
Very cowardly.
Oh, completely cowardly. It's why Marvin Gaye is dead. Marvin Gaye's father killed him because Marvin kept challenging him to face who he really is as a hypocrite and a wife beater. And his dad killed him. People like that have serious, gosh, we can just go Napoleon and Idi Amin and, these people, Henry VIII, Henry V, Henry the 13th, I don't know.
All the Henrys.
Pick your Henry. Gaddafi, pick your Henrys.
Hussein.
Yeah, exactly. Billy Martin, former New York Yankees manager. Same thing. I mean, it's just there are people that just do not want to deal with themselves. They don't want to deal with themselves. And they just spend their whole lives running from it. And these people are narcissistic. They're borderlines. I mean, I know people like this. I have people in my family like this. I have people that I'm close to like this. People that I can't get out of my life. And I have to figure out a way to manage it. And I've gone down every possible path in dealing with them, from yelling at them and screaming at them, jumping up and down, flipping tables in front of them, going nuts and crazy and batshit, and nothing changes. And you have to eventually get to the point where this person is a blockhead. They don't hear you. They can't get it. The problem is that these people work their way into power. And then there are people that are living off of them, so they're difficult to get out of the mix. They're difficult to eliminate. And back to your Caesar, example or analogy, it took, 12 knives? It took 12 guys with knives to stab this guy to death to get rid of him? Yeah. Everybody's got to decide together. It's not a one-man band thing. We all got to decide together. And so we are the ones with knives, and the knives is our vote. And that's why anybody that doesn't pick up a knife, I'm pissed at. Anybody that doesn't vote, I'm pissed at. Every day on my Facebook page, I put a reminder up to vote. Every day for the past 3 weeks, all the way up to the election, I'm putting that up. And some days people are like, yeah, well, that's right, I'm going to vote. And then some days people don't say anything because they get weirded out by it. But I don't care. Whatever, And, I'm just trying to find it within myself to continue on and move forward and keep trying to make important films and saying that it's worth it. But if Trump wins, he may say, okay, I'm going to shut down, public television. I'm going to shut down public radio. I'm going to shut down the Sherman Oaks Film Festival because I don't like the films that it screens. I'm gonna.
They could dive into the tax code and take away nonprofit status.
Oh, absolutely. Everybody. Oh, yeah. I think that they will. I think that that's a guarantee. DeSantis has already started that in
public
Florida.
television first.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, sure. DeSantis is already is dismembering those types of organizations in Florida as well, and specific to film festivals. They were cutting their funding and stuff like that too. They don't want the message to get out there. They don't want people to know they have a choice.
Yeah, they're furiously anti-education.
They don't want people to be
furiously
educated.
anti-information. Yeah, they literally want an ignorant populace, but it's worked.
Yeah.
That's the tragic
For now,
part.
yeah. Because the amount of distraction has been increased. Look at all the football that's on now, everywhere. You know, there's just all of this other crap that is distracting us for the time being, temporarily.
Well, and instead of Walter Cronkite every night sharing relatively accurate news,
Right.
they are allowed to live in their own little bubble where, look, I often tell myself, look, I can't be too mad at those people I see because if all my information came from the sources that they think are accurate, they rely on, they are probably like, oh my God, I'm so afraid of this Harris person. She wants to jail white people for being white. She wants to, you know, I saw an ad, you know, I was in Arizona last weekend. One luxury that one doesn't really get aware of. You have to leave California. If you live in California, of course, you don't, but you come out here a lot.
But of course, you do.
I do.
And you went to high school. You know,
I'm third generation California.
Third generation California.
So it's like,
went to a lot of malls.
So there's because California is kind of a done deal politically. There's no political advertising here.
Right.
So
no point.
So all of a sudden, I'm watching I'm watching NBA in an Airbnb in Scottsdale, Arizona last weekend, and it's one political ad after another. And if I saw a Trump ad and I was not an educated person, I would think he's the right choice because that ad that ad was convincing. If you had no data of your own to know what his policies would do to this country and what Harris's policies would do to this country, you would be like, wow, Harris is going to wreck this place. I better vote for the guy who will protect me. It was a very effective ad what I saw.
Sure. But at the same time, too, they overlook the contradictions in that as well, because then they say, well, you know, I can bet on football now.
Well, and they really are coming at it as our dear friend
abortion's
Kyrie
bad,
Irving.
but,
whatever happened to Kyrie Irving that he came across websites about flat Earth and he bought it
right.
because he didn't have the foundation, the educational foundation.
Because he left college after his freshman year.
Yeah,
he played 4 games for Duke, I think, and then jumped to the pros.
But even in high school, no one told him to crack a book.
Well, yeah, no one in middle school told him to crack a book. Once that guy could dribble through his legs,
and he had natural
in 5th grade,
intelligence that sought information, so he found a website and he became convinced the Earth was flat.
Because that's one of the things you can do as a black male. If you sound reasonably intelligent, you're good. No, that you're good. There's no, if a white person sounds reasonably intelligent, they're like, get the class. If a black person does, they're like, oh, do you play basketball? Are you good at sports or whatever? You sing, you dance, you do something else. As long as you appear to be reasonably socialized, that you're not going to go out there and murder people in the streets, you don't have to get educated. I've been saying this to people forever about black people because people are always just like, how come black people are like this or black guys are like this? Because nobody's asked anything of them. No one demands anything of them. You know? And when people ask me why I'm the way that I am, is because my mother and my grandmother demanded things of me. I was not negotiable.
And demanded education.
Absolutely. And in addition to high character.
And Lord knows I have too many friends in that position where they get called, you're acting white because they're educated. And it is, and the fact that is that's a hurt. It's
beyond hurtful. It's beyond. It's dehumanizing. It is dehumanizing to sit there and to say to a black person, in particular, a black male that is trying to be the best person they possibly can be, and to call them white is an insult to him, his race, his culture, and white people too.
It's a horrible insult to black culture because it's saying that you sounding intelligent
because it's saying that we don't want blacks to be intelligent. That's the point. It's obvious we don't want blacks to be intelligent. I upset people with my mere presence. And I know that if Trump wins on Tuesday, I have increased my level of conflict exponentially, and it's put it into the lethal category in the wrong situation. There are people I know, I make their blood boil because I can carry myself in a certain way, and I speak and I walk and I talk in a certain way. And it just makes them insane because you know something? They'll never be as smart as me. And they're mad. And they're like, why does that guy with dark skin get to be smarter than me? And I don't get to be smarter than them. I worked at it.
You earned it.
I earned it, and my family earned it, and my grandparents, and everybody else, and the people in my community
earned it. That's how they feel about
and
Kamala Harris too, right?
Exactly. And she is the daughter of immigrants, and she is the daughter of two people that didn't have much. She is a great American story, as great as Abraham Lincoln. But when you have those same characteristics as a black person or a person of color or a woman, they don't want it. They don't care. This is why I have a problem with young people, because those young people, they want to be friends with those people. Oh, Colm is cool, or a guy like Fred, whatever. They want to hang out with them. They want to date them. They want to have sex with them. They think it's cool. They want to copy them and do their dances and all sorts of stuff. When it's time to vote for them, they won't do it. They're bullshit too. And I don't give a shit. You know? You're not cool because you're 21 years old and you're not voting, but your girlfriend's black. You're more obligated to fucking vote, in my opinion. Get out of here. You know? This is absolutely crazy. It is just total lunacy. And a lot of this I put on the shoulders of young people. And I'm comfortable with that. And I will fight them in the streets on it. And I'm not afraid of them. Like, I'm not going to play this game with young people that they're better than me because they're younger than me and they navigate the internet better than me. Because at the bottom line, when I'm out there and I'm making films and I'm doing stuff, you know who's the caboose? The young people. When it's time to go to work, when it's time to go film and it's time to go do something or shoot a Black Lives Matter rally or shoot a Trump rally or go do an interview and in the inner city and stuff like that, young people, they're the ones that are like the albatross around everybody's neck. They're the whiners. They're the ones that are waiting for lunch. They're the ones that don't want to work hard. They're the ones that want to go home. They're the ones that just want to do just enough to get by. They don't want to do the hard stuff. They're the ones that whine. And they think they're okay. You know what they care about? Looking pretty. You know what they care about? Their selfies. You know what they think about?
Their
like
social media.
Oh, social media. Should they get a nose job or not? Like all this other crap.
So this is the staffing. This is the young generation that wants to work in media,
right?
And
and they think they're going to take it over.
And when they give you an interview or whatever, they get in. They're bozos. And then you get to know the truth.
Oh, exactly. I mean, they tell me all the time. You know, we're what's next. We're going to save this industry. We're going to take Hollywood to the next level. I'm like, no, you're not. You can't even take out the garbage in Hollywood. You're never going to get this.
And if you think you're woke, and for them, woke is a positive, right?
Yeah, but to them, woke is like just hanging out.
Yeah, but they think they're woke. Yeah, if they get their pronouns better than us, maybe.
Sure.
But as you're pointing out, voting, you can't be woke if you don't vote.
Absolutely. End of story.
Because you're not. You're showing a lack of awareness.
Yeah, no vote, no woke. Like it's it. They go together. And you know who said that? Thurgood Marshall. Do they know who that guy is? No. That's the point. And that's where the word woke came from in the first place. He coined it. We are the great woke nation. That's what he said after World War II. As Jackie Robinson's, sliding into second base. And Rosa Parks is refusing to give up her seat on the bus. And Martin Luther King is like sparkly at press conferences. You know, the great woke generation. Here comes John F. Kennedy, you know, the senator from New York or Massachusetts.
Yeah.
You know, that was a great time. That was when young people did something. These young people now don't do anything. And not all of them, not indicting all of them, obviously. But there is enough that there is an argument for this to be like, wait a minute, you guys need to, like, you know, check yourselves before you wreck yourselves, which is an old
For sure. And
way of saying it.
And, you know, we're talking about voter turnout. So
Sure.
voter turnout on average is going to be about 66%, right? About
Yeah, but
two-thirds.
the young people were coming out
And
in
young
droves.
people, it's going to be 50% or less.
Exactly, and it's crazy. They should be like at 75,
And
80.
it's 80% if you're over 65 or something.
Exactly, and the young people should be leading this charge.
They shouldn't even have the vote. Actually, if you're over 65, I'm
It's
almost in favor of you not voting
Exactly.
because you'll vote for your self-interest, but your self-interest don't matter. You got 20 years to go versus 60 years to go. I mean,
people
used to vote, the over 65 used to care about what the next generation
Sure.
would experience.
but less and less and less and less. You know,
That's
right. I mean, my grandmother's generation, they gave up their lives for us. You know, my grandmother
Same here.
walked out of the cotton fields of Memphis, Tennessee for me. And you know how I know that? She told me to my face, I'm going to get out of here and I'm going to get educated so my grandchildren will never see a cotton field.
My great-grandparents ran out of Ukraine and
go.
Latvia
Exactly.
to get here.
Exactly. And what if they didn't?
So that a few generations later, people could live
But what if they
well.
were like, fuck it? And I'm sure there were people, there were black people that sat in them fields and said, fuck it. And there are people that back in the Ukraine that said, fuck it. Those generations don't get to go to the next level. We're blessed. Unbelievable. And these stupid ass young people don't see that. Somebody did something to get them to where they are, so they owe that to somebody else moving forward. They're crazy. They're lunatics. And they're lazy. And at times they're just degenerate to a fault. And they complain about everything, and they don't do anything.
So who's their hero?
Themselves.
Right. It's not
or some celebrity.
Yeah, I mean, I know it's not really Taylor
Or someone
Swift.
that doesn't exist. It kind of is Taylor Swift from time to time.
Kind of is, but she's kind of inspiring. She took a stand.
Sure. I get it.
Like, why did that turn the tide?
I don't know.
By the way, I was going to share a long time ago when I was tapping on my computer. I just wanted to say that the last time we sat down with the microphones and chatted about this was July 18th, which I believe was soon after the Biden-Harris switch.
Yes.
And we were filled with optimism at that time. And the reason why our optimism went away is since in those 3 months since, 3.5 months since.
Taylor Swift went on tour.
Taylor Swift, I didn't go see her. But we watched the margin never improve. Like, Harris pulled ahead of Trump by 1.5-2% nationwide, and it's stuck there.
But how much can we really believe it anymore? I don't know.
Yeah,
I'm just like,
Look, I would love.
We're gonna find out.
I would love for if 5% more of under 30 votes than expected, and
that'd be great.
If 5% more of people of color or Republican women who actually kind of care about their uterus,
right.
Or their daughter's uterus,
right.
and they won't tell their husband who they're voting for.
I believe all women care about their uterus. I just think that, unfortunately, there is a large number of women who are afraid of men.
Yeah.
And I think that most black people have black pride, but there is a small percentage of black people who are afraid of white men.
Or I do have a few friends who even during the Obama era were like, he's not doing enough for me. He's not doing enough for us. Because, black unemployment didn't improve enough under Obama. But what was he supposed to do? He's running the whole fucking country.
Camouflage. They are camouflaging the fact that they're fucking lazy. They're camouflaging the fact that this guy is creating a window of opportunity for you to be able to do something. He's like, here's the ball. You still got to score. They're mad that he's not scoring for them.
Right. They're mad that he didn't give them a ladder to walk up.
Right.
And
He
dunk.
passes the ball to them, and instead of them taking the shot, they pass it back to him. And they're like, you take the shot. That's insane. Like, I find that to be unbelievably insulting, because they're going to find out what it's like without an Obama type or an Obama sensibility in the office when they're trying to do stuff and people are blocking them left and right. They're going to see what real oppression is.
Well, it was obvious for 4 years what was going on.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a very rough time. And then COVID hit. And that... what can I do?
We would
what
be in chains now if COVID had never hit. Because I think that Trump would have won a second term.
Interesting.
Yeah, I mean,
I see COVID robbed him of that second term because it showed his level of incompetence. In the moment, everyone was like, yeah, he's
well, yeah, he
somehow everyone's forgetting how badly he
right, and
he
I don't understand how that happened. I don't get that. And to the GOP's credit, they figured out a way to scrub that's never come up, his level of incompetence. But if COVID had not happened, I think that he was probably well on his way to winning in 2020 as well. If George Floyd doesn't get murdered, there's all of these things that could have turned the tide in a different direction.
Yeah, well, we definitely can't. We can't know.
We can't know for sure. And I'm glad that he did not win in 2020, and I'm glad that Biden won in 2020, and I'm glad that Biden stepped down, and I'm glad that Michelle Obama did not run for president the way that all of these, like, again, hyper-progressive, willy-nilly people wanted, because they want someone to score for them. They're like, oh, well, she can just do it all. And I think she inherently said, I'm not doing that for everybody. I'm still a relatively young person. I still have my daughters. I've got a life.
And she's not. That whole thing drove me mad because she never expressed interest in being a politician on her own.
I understand that. But a lot of people really wanted her to be.
And the image of recruiting her, honestly, it was reminiscent of pulling Hillary in and stacking the deck in her favor in the primaries.
And Hillary shouldn't have been there. No. I think that I would have been more interested in rolling the dice with Bernie. And I believe that Bernie would have beaten Trump in 2016.
Probably. Yeah. There is a bench, right? There's a fairly decent bench and there's Democratic governors. There's all kinds of people that. Yeah, Hillary was a poor choice. I mean, Trump.
Hillary had been in politics for 30 years anyway. It was like, she's impacted world history.
But she was but she's a carpetbagger. You know what I mean? There was an instant. I mean, and by the way, I would have voted for her a million times against Trump. But
who wouldn't? I get it.
But she was a particularly weak candidate in what is a popularity contest. She's a naturally less easy to like human.
That's just her
just
style.
who she is.
But and that's unfair. But that's how shitty we treat women.
That is how shitty we
women have to be like sparkly and wonderful and bake you bread in order for us to like them.
But there's a reason why Gavin Newsom has a shot to be president someday and Adam Schiff doesn't.
Oh, yeah.
It's about charm and likability.
Charm and likability are a big deal for and all of that. All of that. And then she was married to Bill Clinton. And she's a former first lady. I mean, those are things that chop you down because I think, people are like, that's not really how this works. We need new people, new blood. And I believe in new people, new blood all the time. That is my number one reason why Trump should go. In my argument with GOP people, like I have now with sane people, I've got a ton of reasons. But when I'm arguing with conservatives, I'm like, he's already been president. What the hell? Move on.
Yeah.
Find somebody else.
And he lost for you 4 years ago.
Exactly. And it's
when Romney lost for you, you decided you're done with him.
Exactly. But how come with him you're not? What's the deal? And then you don't have anybody coming behind him now. And then it's this J.D. Vance who's
because he managed to turn it into a cult of personality.
Exactly. And he wants to be the ruler for life, and he wants to change the voting laws and all this other stuff, and and be the protector of women. What the hell does that mean? That's disgusting.
It is one of the. I mean, it would be funny if he loses. Then we can laugh about the fact. There's almost nothing funnier to me than I'll protect women even if they don't want me to. Didn't he say something like that? Wasn't it along those lines? Like, even if they don't want me to, I'm going to do what's best for them. Like,
it sounds like assault.
He has assaulting women is just in his core.
It's his jam.
It is his jam because his whole life, I wasn't lucky enough. My nobody ended up handing me a $1 billion real estate empire so that I could, starting at age 15, pay anyone I want to do whatever I want, sexually. Must turn you into a really horrible person.
I think so.
Yeah, there's maybe there might be a few decent. Remember? Oh my God, you might have. There was a documentary called Born Rich, like 15, 20 years ago. I think it was on HBO. It actually had a few of the Trump kids, some Vanderbilt kids, this and that.
Oh, yeah.
But it really shared just how fucked up this top 0.01%. If you are born to a billionaire, you have very little shot of having a decent life. Somehow, I guess Warren Buffett did it. Bill Gates, apparently his kids are, but that's because these were people who said, by the way, wasn't it Buffett who said something like, my kids will be comfortable, but not so much that they can't work. Like, they have to work. They have to do something with their lives.
Yeah.
Anyway, total tangent there. But
no, I think that's a big part of what we're voting on. We have to do something with our lives, and voting is one of those things. And a lot of people are skirting that because they think they have so much privilege. Voting doesn't matter. It's not true.
But we are not like one of the parties would allow it, but other democracies, it's a national holiday voting day. No one has to go to work. Because we want everyone to vote.
Because we don't want the black and brown people and the gays to go vote. We want to make sure they have to go to work.
Yes. If
they're going to do whatever we can to make sure they don't show up at the polls.
Yes,
they only want whites to vote in this culture. They only want white males to vote in this culture. They only want white Christian males to vote in this culture. Let's be real. That's the truth. Heterosexual white Christian males to vote. That's it.
Yeah, but whatever. Sometimes Mr. Orangehead literally just whatever. He doesn't care what you look like. I kind of believe him. If you vote for him, you're good. If you don't vote for him, you're bad.
That's the devil. I mean, of course, if you worship him, then he's cool with you.
Yeah.
But then if you don't, then whatever you have that's different, they're going to use it against you.
Yeah, and demographically, they can look and say,
right.
Okay, we're Texas, so if you college kids have a mailbox, not a mailing address, so if you live in a dorm, you don't get to vote. We're going to say you have to have a mailing address, not a mailbox. Sure. Because on average, they're not going to vote for me. Yeah.
Right. And so that's what they do. But if he thought that they were, then he would give them every accommodation possible to be able to vote. It's rigged. It's rigged.
Which is what he claims.
And they believe that, we will never stand up to it. We will never protest. We will never refuse to give up our seat on the bus. They think that we're cowards.
I have to admit, the line of voters unwilling to go home in Georgia, like when they showed footage last year's election, 2 years ago during the midterms, those voters refusing, even though they made it illegal to even hand them water and whatnot.
And that's ridiculous. Again,
their refusal to go home, their dedication to vote. It can make you cry. They were not letting themselves be bullied out of voting.
Right.
So inspiring.
Right.
It's going to happen again?
Absolutely. You know how many black people there are in Georgia? Are you kidding me?
Enough that Stacey Abrams should be, but enough that it went to 4 years ago went to Biden.
But again, people think these crackers, these racist white people think that black people are scared of them. They really do. They really do. And they think they're not smart enough to be able to navigate the system. They're wrong. They're wrong. And they're going to find out the hard way. I know. And they want to they want to test people. They want to test people all the time. And they're going to find out what black people are really made of. And we are more than just, sports people and music people and singers and dancers and, and clean your house people. We got a lot more going on, and they're going to find that out the hard way. And, the vast majority of us are not afraid of them, and good luck with that, white racist person.
And is the lack of fear, do you think it's just because it's just been proven our generation's experience shows that, like, kissing ass to the power structure doesn't work anyway, so
what the hell?
Need to.
No need to, exactly.
Yeah,
right.
That's really what it is.
But from their vantage point, they think in this past generation, kissing ass gets you where you want to go. The secret to my success, the Alex P. Keaton generation. They think kissing ass does something for you. That's why Trump is so popular, But that's not reality. That's not truth. That's an aberration.
He's also, I'm oversimplifying, but sometimes I think his popularity is based solely on his skill as a troll. His trolling skills
are incredible. He's really, really good at being a troll.
And they really, really hate. There's intense hate towards people of color, but, they've used the trans community in such a cruel way,
like a doormat.
They've convinced 1/3 of the country that, like, every woman's sport, they don't care about women's sports, but they've convinced that this is a threat to the fiber of our nation. And the truth is,
they're less than 1%. They're not. It's
0.02%. Yeah,
it's like it's crazy.
And we just say they have a right
to live,
to be who they are,
to be who they are and exist, and we're crushing them. What was it like? The number of Jews in Germany, was it 2%, 4%, something like that? Something super low. Black people have only been 14% here. They always punch down. They punch down on people. And trans people are the people that are there right now that they punch down on. To the point where transgendered people are afraid to take a stand. Transgendered people are like, oh, I want to blend. I want to hide. I don't want anybody to know. I don't want to, and they can't do that. That's what they've done. They're creating a discourse for transgendered people to hurt themselves because that's what they want. Just like they want Jews to hurt themselves, through self-loathing, and they want blacks to hurt themselves through self-loathing and all of these other minority groups. It's the same thing. That they set you up for failure. And until we have the Martin Luther King of transgendered people come along and mobilize them, it's going to be really challenging.
Well, it's such a tiny population. How do you?
For now,
they've convinced 1/3 of the country that these human beings are a threat to their very existence.
And it's insane. But they also said that about gays.
I got Mormon in-laws who were going on and on about it's not safe to go to Target. It's not safe to go to Target. There's a man in the women's room.
I get it. I got black friends that don't talk to me anymore because I worked for several years on a transgendered project.
And it creeps them out too much.
Completely. It makes them question my own sexuality. Or my own orientation, which is, number one, none of their goddamn business. But for whatever reasons, we have to constantly, in this society, have that on display. Why is that such an incredible identifier for us? I don't know. I don't understand why we're so insecure about our sexuality and our sexual orientation, and that we've politicized it to a point that it cripples us from being able to keep everyone safe.
I've never understood it.
Either.
I wish I could. I really never understood what someone else does in their bedroom. What has it got to do with me?
Nothing. Some of the most dysfunctional, hedonistic, hateful, sexual, aberrant people I've ever met in my life are heterosexual.
Oh, sure.
That are sick. that are sick, need help, and have real issues, and they harm and they hurt people, and they exploit people.
And hurt themselves.
But those people are okay? That's acceptable behavior? That's okay? That's all right? That's not a threat? There are more twisted, effed up heterosexuals that are damaging our society than there ever will be trans or gay. Period. If you run the numbers.
Absolutely.
I mean, like, you know, we don't do anything about like the pornography industry. You know, we don't, you know, there's no regulations on it. You know what I mean? I'm not saying the pornography industry shouldn't exist, but you shouldn't be able to pick up your fucking device and put in one URL and get you all the porn that you want. It should be behind some reasonable firewall that there is a series of locks to get there based on whose phone that is, who owns that phone, what age you are, all this other stuff. It's too easy. It's too easy to get to porn. You know?
It's funny because you brought that up, and that's something that always concerned me.
But we don't do anything about it.
I mean, I've actually said to nieces and nephews, I'll be like, look, I know you don't want to discuss this with me because I'm your uncle, but like, has it fucked everything up, the amount of porn that's been available since you were old enough to get online? And my nieces tell me that all the guys their age, guys under 20, 25 and under, don't know how to treat a woman. And I say, there's got to be nice guys. That's what I say at first.
That's an old man thing.
But I know, but I think in the back of my head, if they've grown up with unlimited porn, of course they don't know how to treat another person.
Or another human being, absolutely. There now are people, young people, that they only interact sexually with anime porn, not even real people. That's going away. Are we doing anything about it? No. Why? Because it's a multi-billion-dollar industry. Just like people get concussed, you know, the quarterback for the Miami Dolphins could die tomorrow, but it's a multi-billion-dollar, trillion-dollar industry, so game on. Things that make money, they refuse to regulate. And then the things that they don't make money on that require the give back in the spirit of society, they want to get rid of. Like getting people off the streets that are homeless, you know.
I can say something I'm proud of in my hometown. That I know, I don't know if I told you, but I hire an unhoused person to do video editing for me.
Yep.
The city of LA just got her permanent housing. They bought a rundown hotel, fixed it up, and they actually are moving her from her RV into, she's going to have a roof over her head. And if that doesn't sound like a big deal, I mean, let me point out that she lived in a part of the San Fernando Valley that is very hot. And when it's over 100 degrees and you live in an RV,
it's dangerous.
It's dangerous. So I'm so happy that housing, I voted for our current mayor because she said housing first, and it's happening. So I'm happy about one little thing.
And that's good. And that's one little thing and
one little shy ray of light,
step in the right direction.
But it does. I'm just going to confess, but you've heard me say this before, that, you know, I'm proud of my home state and hometown and say to myself, well, I guess if things go bad, we'll just secede. Like deep down, we're like, oh, all we got to do is like just run a bill through the state Senate and House, and then have our governor sign it that says California law supersedes federal law. Fine, we're back to where we were.
Right.
You guys can do whatever you want. You know you want our tax dollars, so you can't fuck with us. But needless to say, like, if Trump had a second term, and if California said, you know, we want out, he'd probably say, you and all your electoral college votes can leave.
Sure.
But doesn't help anybody else.
No.
But I feel kind of safer here.
You should. Doesn't California have a standing army too?
right? The reserves or no, what is it?
I think they do.
I mean,
I think they do.
Enough. There might be a conflict over federal versus state control of it, but deep down, let's just say I'm pretty sure that the entire Republican machine would be happy if California was no longer part of the USA.
And New York.
And New York, yeah. If they could get rid of those two, they'd never lose another. But then again, I was the idiot walking around 4 years ago going, we just need 1 million Democrats to move to Texas. Just get it done in 2 years. Just start moving. Like I wanted George Soros to offer people $100,000 to move. Because then add Texas, make Texas blue, and it's over.
I know.
It's over before it starts. You know? But then they'd have to live in Texas where the power grid doesn't even work.
There's a lot of things in Texas that
in Texas don't work.
Yeah. Common sense.
I know there's little, just there's good people everywhere.
There is, and I don't want people to think that I don't know that or believe that, but there is also people of questionable integrity everywhere as well, and I'm not going to kid myself about that either, and I'm not giving anybody a pass as well, so they got to live with that part too.
And isn't it, and we believe in democracy, which puts you in a bind if the majority of the public is misinformed or ignorant,
or following a fascist.
I do believe in democracy.
I completely do, but I hate it when believing in democracy, people misinterpret you as being a socialist. That's what's crazy too. Why are those two things becoming so blurred with the conservative right?
Well, this goes back many years, but when we go back to the tiki torches,
which I love it when you come here.
You like when I go to that one?
Yeah.
Well, because I tried that was back when I still had some friends who I've gotten rid of, and I would say to those friends, "Wait a minute, this is democracy in action. The local city council voted by the local community. They're the ones who decided to take down that statue. It's their choice. This is democracy. It wasn't like, woke liberals forcing a deeply Klan-oriented town to take down a Confederate statue. It was a local community decided, we're going to get rid of that statue. It's our choice. It's our park." And then they fucking said that you have no right to do this. And it's like they stop believing in democracy as soon as they disagree with the public.
Yeah. But they didn't think that Colin Kaepernick had the right to protest, either.
Yeah.
And
as if one guy kneeling.
One guy.
And by the way, I was the guy saying, how is kneeling that disrespectful?
It's not at all. It's not at all. It's disrespectful because a black man did it. And that's what, and there's people have an expectation of black men that is ridiculous. Just like Muhammad Ali got in trouble because he did not want to go fight in a war because of his religious beliefs, which is something you are allowed to do, but they would not let him do it because he was a cash cow for them.
Well, these are the same motherfuckers who refused to use the name Muhammad Ali, right?
Exactly.
They kept calling him Cassius Clay. Like they tried to call Kareem Luel-Cinder.
Exactly. They play this game all the time. It's constant. It's constant. They want to marginalize you, and they want to tell you that, oh, things are okay. You guys have enough opportunity out there. It's okay for you guys. You're fine. You're fine. You're fine. No, we're not. We're a long way from that. And there are a lot of other people that are a long way from that too. And a lot of other women and a lot of other trans people and a lot of other people that are gay as well. We're a long way from there. Just a few people have crossed that threshold or that finish line. And of those that have, not many of them reach back and help others.
Yeah, that is another. I wonder if I was about to talk about culture and you know, I believe in a multicultural society because I grew up in one here in LA.
Yeah.
But I guess it is just prejudice and racism is why the people who, as soon as I get into the party, I want the door to close behind me because the people outside the door are others to me. I mean, isn't the whole point when you get in to help lift up others too? That's what we were taught to do.
Yeah, but not anymore. Not when it comes to conservatives. You're only holding the door for other people that think like you, walk like you, talk like you, and hopefully look like you, or that are willing to knuckle to you. The rules have changed. Or maybe they weren't ever any different. We just didn't realize it because we were so far down.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, no, the rules haven't changed. It's just the rules used to work their way.
Exactly, and it doesn't work
and
their way
now
anymore.
We've sort of changed the rules, and
Right.
and we've tried to make this country live up to its constitution.
Sure. Right.
And they find that repugnant because they're like, wait, you're taking away my unfair advantage? That's unfair. My unfair advantage must remain. It's unfair to take away my unfair advantage. It's like the world's worst catch-22. Because that is... And, you know, they get all mad at us for making everything about prejudice and race and you know, rights, human rights. Is human rights the good enough a blanket term of what they're against? And, you know, I have had conservatives look me in the eyes and say, why do you always bring up the abortion thing? Why do you always bring up the, you know, LGBTQ thing and the, you know, racism thing? Why? And I'm like, look, all conservatives aren't racist, but all racists are conservative. You know? I mean, in the end, if you're not if you are racist, you only have one choice. Like if you truly believe in the myth of skin color, if you really don't acknowledge that race has only existed for like 10,000 years or something, like it's just a temporary condition. Everyone came from the same place, and we're all cousins. Things like 12th cousins. Every human being on Earth is a 12th cousin. I don't know.
We have a lot to work out. And time's a wasting. TikTok, bitches. And we can't keep just punting all the time.
Last time, did we talk about the evils of TikTok with the algorithmic amplification of anti-democratic, pro-authoritarianism?
Yes, you have brought that up.
Okay, yeah.
It angers you.
It's just scary.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
It's really scary and that's another problem with the young people is they get all their news on the TikTok, and it's biased by design.
Yeah.
And amusingly, Trump and Biden both agreed that TikTok has to be sold for it to be available in this country, and neither of them got it done. So it was something that they agree on. That the Chinese government should not be controlling what people under 25 see and learn. And that one's tough.
Yeah. I mean, the Chinese want us to injure ourselves. They want us to stumble under our own weight.
They want us to not be a shining example that makes their middle class want democracy.
Yeah, exactly. And they want to be the superpower. They want that position.
Man, when I was in college, Tiananmen Square, it was like, oh my God, it's going to happen. They're going to get democracy. Look what the people are doing. Not even close.
Nope.
Further away than ever.
You know.
She literally, she literally changed the Constitution so that he never has to step down.
It's what Trump wants to do if he wins again. That's what he's totally going to do.
Maybe.
And he's going to push the Palestinians into the ocean. He's going to hand the Ukraine to Putin.
He's going to, and more, because Putin won't stop there.
Oh, absolutely. But Trump is too stupid to know that.
Well, I still lean on the conspiracy theory that, that Deutsche Bank or whichever bank has Trump's $3 billion in debt, I think it was his debt's co-sponsored by Putin. A couple billion's nothing to Putin. Putin has like a couple $100 billion or something from from robbing all the oligarchs. So I think he owns Trump's debt and just says to him, "Hey, I'll keep financing your debt if you do what I want." Very simple math for Trump. He's like, "Okay, good deal. Good deal." And then somehow my conservative friends are like, "I'm not sure that Harris can take on Putin." And I'm like, and I admit I get rude. And I say, wouldn't you rather she take on Putin instead of Trump just get under the desk and give Putin a blowjob? Like, I go there because I'm like, that's literally what Trump does for him. That's figuratively what Trump does. Trump does whatever Putin asks.
Sure. It's his lackey.
He really is. And apparently, it's not even controversial to learn that they've been in touch several times in the last year, as inappropriate as that is. Yes, we found out that norms are useless.
Totally.
Can't live by norms.
Nope.
So, the Dodgers won.
They do.
Although you're not wearing a Dodger hat.
I'm not, and I've been thinking about it. I feel like I should go purchase one. The big parade rally thing was today, which I thought was wonderful at the stadium. I'm happy the Dodgers won. Anytime the Yankees lose, I'm kind of for it. They won a lot. Yankees have won so much. And then once you really look at like the number of times the Dodgers have won, it was 55, 81. And then they won like 5 years ago, I think. Something.
They got the COVID one. Yeah.
They got the COVID one.
The bubble.
But that's it. I mean, the Dodgers have lost a lot of World Series.
When I was a kid, we kept losing to the Yankees.
Yeah, I remember that.
Reggie was too damn good.
He was.
I'm sure there's more names.
And then they lost in the 60s as well. And then they just got their brains beat in the 40s and early. In the early 1950s as well. So I think it's great when the Dodgers win.
Always a...
they're a great organization.
There's something about the franchise and the culture of it.
Yeah,
you mentioned Jackie Robinson earlier.
They're the first.
Sandy Koufax.
Yeah, okay, yeah. They're
you know what I mean?
They're a Black Jew organization.
Black Jew. They opened the door.
They did. The blacks and the Jews opened the door.
A little better than keeping the door closed.
Absolutely. And then, and a tremendous number of Latin players have thrived here as well.
And the Dodgers embraced Japanese players early on.
Yeah.
I remember the 80s when I can't name the player, but they started serving sushi because the Japanese community came out.
Yeah, exactly. But I think that's great. That says something about this organization. And if there was a organization that they hired the first female manager or maybe a female player, I don't know, it would probably be a Dodger. And I would hope so.
That wouldn't be too surprising.
I think that would be awesome.
Yeah.
I think
because it's part of their identity.
Exactly. I think so too. Yeah. Why not?
Because organizations have cultures and...
Sure. And the Dodgers have a great one without question. Case in standpoint, Magic Johnson is one of the owners. He bought in. So, I don't think he would buy into anything that he didn't think was worthwhile. So I think it's tremendous. It says a lot.
It is. It's something to be proud of for, even though I am a cynic about pro sports anyway, I'm like, well, we're rooting for the shirts at this point because the players come and go so much.
But it's a pathway, it's a gateway for a lot of immigrant people and people of color to be able to self-identify in society as well. It's one of the few environments where marginalized people are a little bit more Teflon. They're taken seriously.
And if somebody wants a multicultural experience, go to a Dodger game.
Sure.
Because...
Oh yeah, it's everybody's there.
The LA community is there.
Brings a tear to your eye. Brings a tear to your eye.
Almost. If you've been to Yeah, I mean, when I went to a game in Denver at the Colorado Rockies, it was not the same experience.
No, it's not.
It was monoculture.
Sure.
Whereas, that's another thing. When I was younger, I haven't gone for a long time, but that's what I used to love about Santa Monica Beach was we're all here. We're all getting along. It's nice. Mm-hmm. I know that's a very white privilege-y statement, but
it's funny.
We're all here. Look, everybody's here. I'm so glad everybody's here.
I love the idea of you standing there on the beach saying that in with your off-whiteness.
my suspiciously brown
something else. Exactly. What is that guy again?
Oh, it was well, you were the person who brought me to crack him up at the Comedy Store.
Exactly.
You're not too white.
You're not too white.
I should get a T-shirt that just says "not too white,"
not
but
too white.
It'd probably rub people. No one. You'd have to be there.
Definitely.
I have a good "you have to be there" joke, and I know sometimes my jokes really fail with you, but this is just a thinker. It's actually not even funny.
Okay.
I saw an Instagram clip of Ricky Gervais telling this joke to Jerry Seinfeld.
Right.
So Gervais says, "There's this joke that's so smart. I just have to share it with you. A Holocaust survivor makes it to like age 92 and then passes. And when he gets to heaven, he turns to God and says, 'Let me tell you a joke about the Holocaust.' And God says, 'Well, I don't think that's very funny.' And then the guy goes, 'Well, I think you had to be there.'" At Jerry Seinfeld's face, instead of laughing, he just went, "Did you write that?" And Ricky was like, "No, I heard it." And he's like, "That's the best written joke I've ever expected. That's working on so many levels. I can't even, I can't," like Seinfeld was floored by that joke. Telling God, "I guess you had to be there," about the Holocaust. Man, that's a good joke.
It's got a lot.
There's a lot there.
It's a lot there.
I always like to mention there were 12 million people killed. Some of my people say 6 million all the time.
I know.
I'm like, well, can we be more inclusive?
Well, I have the same problem because I don't know why our numbers are the same. Like 6 million slaves, 6 million Jews die in Europe, which neither one of those was accurate. In my case, it was 18 million apprehended, and we never talk about that number. So 2/3 were lost
on the trip.
On the trip, Middle Passage. That's insane. They were willing to take 2/3 of a loss of human beings. All the souls gone.
That is how profitable it was.
That's how profitable it was. Exactly. And then with the Jews, that's how badly they wanted these people gone. Can't wrap my mind around that, Jerry Seinfeld. Like, wow.
You could tell the same joke, but make it someone who died during the passage.
Yeah, you could.
Hey, let me tell you a joke about the slave ship. Yeah. And God's like, "Well, I actually don't think the slave ship's too funny." "Oh, well, but you had to be there."
You had to be there.
Obviously, Gervais is a solidly atheistic person.
Yeah,
so.
And good luck with that. And, I just think he's a weird dude. Like
I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan.
I don't get him.
I can't get through. I couldn't even get through the original Office.
Me either. I don't get him. I mean, and he does well, so that's great. But I don't understand him. He seems cool to hang out with, but I don't get the comedy.
Yeah. The comedy's on. Yeah. He's a good conversationalist.
Absolutely. But I just don't get him as a entertainer or performer,
Agreed.
Agreed. Social observationalist.
Yeah. And then he thinks hosting the Golden Globes and being a little rude to rich people makes him cool.
It's odd. I think that's just strange. But
I think it's just putting on a front.
Whatever. He's hiding something. I don't know. It's him. He's got to do his thing, as we do ours.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah. It's just too bad that he has more influence than we do.
That's a shame. It's a criminal crime. Shame.
It is a criminal crime. It's one of those criminal crimes that There's too many of them.
There's too many damn criminals and crimes. Yeah. Okay.
Well, what are you out here for? Is there something good to share?
Yes, there is. I'm out here for Tomorrow Pictures. We are working with an organization called LISC. LISC is involved in helping to build and gentrify challenged neighborhoods, and they bring in build, work, live spaces. And in this particular case, they're building one at the corner of 53rd and Crenshaw. And we have the privilege and the honor of telling those stories, and we've done them all over the country, and now we are here. So that's what I am doing right now as well. And the American film market starts next week as well, where all of the pitching and buying and selling for the new calendar year 2025 starts the day after the apocalypse on November 6th.
And you got to go to Vegas for that.
Go to Vegas for that, yeah.
Because it left L.A.
Yeah, so when the Martians land the next day after the election, I'll be in Vegas.
You'll be in Nevada.
A
state that is dominated by unions.
Yeah, so I'll be around a lot of guys with bent noses.
But hopefully Nevada goes the way we want it to.
I think it will too. Every indication is that it will.
I think Nevada's
so
safe.
I'm excited about that. I think a lot of things are going to be pretty good. But that is basically what I'm doing out here right now. And also,
and is it part of a series or a documentary? Or?
It's just a continuing series of stories. Mm-hmm. They're micro documentaries. What's hot now is small documentaries. You can't really tell a big story in a big way. You tell the big stories in a small way. So more the documentary is kind of shrank, and it's like 3 minutes, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, maybe 15 minutes. They're far more digestible to people, and they're interested in them. The longer form documentaries now are more sensationalized, like true crime and stuff like that. But if you want to tell a meaningful story like about the Holocaust, it would be better to do it in these smaller increments.
Right. So if the documentary isn't sensationalist, if it's about something real,
right,
you've got to make it bite-sized.
You've got to make it bite-sized. So music video sized, I like to say. So the new music video is documentary. There you go. I said it.
That'd be awesome if there was an
outlet, a platform, a place.
Well,
that you could screen them. That's interesting, Jeff. Really?
I know. Well, you know what's embarrassing is I was about to say, like, there should be the MTV of documentaries.
No, there shouldn't be. There should be a platform that already screens short form stuff, and they have something that is sort of MTV-esque that is also creating programming that is in the documentary space. Do you know of any platforms such as that, Jeff?
So we're talking about the Indie Channel.
Yes.
Which celebrates independently thoughtful and independently made work.
Yes.
From all around.
Yes.
Everything.
Yes.
And we're working together on this.
Yes, we are.
We're giving
yes.
Tomorrow Pictures a home on there.
Yes, we are. That's how wonderful. Tomorrow Pictures is coming at you with bite-sized true stories.
There can't be too much from Tomorrow.
Oh, look at that.
You have named your organization on the future.
Yes, I've leveraged my entire existence on the future.
On the future, making the future better.
Yeah. It's my dilly, yo.
I mean, that's pretty fucking honorable. You must have been raised right.
I think so. I was raised by a.
Do you ever joke about it and go, man, I wish I had been raised more selfishly?
I would be richer
because you could have just been a lawyer. Right. You could have been a corporate attorney.
Exactly.
Crushing the little guy.
Or Kanye.
You could
or Puffy. Or Dr. Dre. A real man about town. It's weird, right? Yeah, all of those other things. I mean, they sound like initially like great gigs, but then look at how they end up. And even being a corporate attorney or something like that too, that sounds like a wash in the end as well. So, I mean, I like what I am. I just wish I made more money because then I could do more.
Yeah.
And I could help out and reach back and pull other people up and stuff like that as well. So like where I'm at is strategic partnerships, and we love working with you as well, and look forward to there being a world here for us in 2025 and getting a lot done next year too, because this year was kind of a bust. But I think next year is going to be terrific, and I'm hoping for all things positive moving forward.
Well, that's an excellent stopping point, no?
Agreed.
Because you just talked about the future.
Yes.
I'm looking forward to everything moving forward. I love it.
Yeah.
Love it. In January 2025, I just looked up at the sky.
Mm-hmm. Did you see it? Was it up there?
I see good things.
Me too. I do.
I'm afraid to say it.
No, I know you're afraid to say it. You don't want to jinx it, like you're an Irish person or something. It's kind of weird, Jeff.
Yeah, I'm not superstitious.
But you'll play one on a podcast series.
But I don't have to say what I'm hoping for.
We already know what you're hoping for,
yeah.
And it's going to happen. I think it's going to be great. It's going to be great.
I'm hoping that my president is a well-educated, intelligent, driven human being.
Absolutely.
Who wants to do what's best
exactly
for the nation and not focused on that person's own benefit.
Right. And bust the glass ceiling for everybody. Absolutely, without question. I'm looking forward to it. I'm all about it. And I hope we keep the knuckleheads to a minimum moving forward. So I'm concerned about a few wingnuts here and there, but maybe they'll just stand down and be quiet for a minute and let some people that care about other people run the show for a hot minute.
It would be great.
It'd be awesome.
It'd be fantastic.
Without a doubt.
All right, well, I'll wrap us up because we're coming right up on 2 hours.
There you go. You did it again.
Look at this. We're so good at the 2-hour chat.
Yes.
All right.
To the chagrin of old Jewish women everywhere.
I know. Do they say
they do?
You should break it up into?
I get calls, Jeff. Yeah, they do. They say they break it up. It's too long. It needs to be like 15 minutes apiece.
So you have to sit. Yeah, if you could sit down with them and say, "Give me your phone." All right. See this little pause button? Hit this. Come back later.
Why are you chastising me? I'm trying to help you. You know they got an answer for everything, Jeff. Don't play me like that.
You know, I can imagine how poorly I'd sleep if my mom knew how to listen to a podcast. My 84-year-old mother.
Right.
Thank God she'll never hear this. But that's the only elderly person I deal with, and she doesn't complain about the length of our chats because she doesn't know things. And if I said a podcast, she could look at me like, "What?" I go, "Well, there was this thing called an iPod. It doesn't exist anymore." But somehow the word pod, whatever.
You shouldn't really try.
No.
So let it go.
I get mocked for, I still, she's at that stage where she can't get sarcasm anymore.
Right.
And I still will sarcastically
Of course you will. This is your time. You've waited all your life for this, okay? She can't get it anymore, and you can just unload on her constantly.
Well, and to my credit, well, I don't know, I could share this with you off the mics, but she even said to me, like, "You've taken Dad's role," as in I, like, manage her life for her, right? I take care of all the financial shit and all that, so, I even had to go over there Tuesday and pick up her car and take it and change the oil, which, oh my God, I really hate driving an internal combustion engine. Those drive like shit. EVs are just better.
You're insane.
No, I'm not.
You sound just like an evil person who lives in California. And she's totally the dick. You sound like
Is that a dick move to say?
It's a total dick move. You're changing the oil in your mom's car, and you're complaining about an internal combustible engine.
It reminded me how shitty they drive.
You were trash on a stick. You were born in the 20th century. Like, how dare you? That is just cruel.
Renewables.
Look at you.
Solar.
Look at you just waving your hand at your mom's face.
Mom. No, yeah.
She should shoot you in the thigh. Not kill you, just shoot you in the thigh.
That would affect my tennis game.
It would.
That would be a bummer. Be worse than... Okay, so I blew a chance to get us out of here.
Yeah, you got to get us out
on a good note.
Right. Well, this is still a good note.
But at least I haven't told a terrible joke this time. I think every once in a while we talk
reasonable.
long enough for me to get punchy, and then like I'll say one that like doesn't land. And then you give me that look like, Jeff, that did not land. You know, but I might sleep better tonight knowing that one of these days you might tell that Holocaust joke.
I might.
Because
I'll send you a text.
It's worthy of you. I can't name many jokes that aren't.
Thank you.
But
that's a positive.
That joke is intellectual enough,
yes,
smart enough, and just historically factual enough.
Yes. Completely accurate throughout the ages, space and time, without a doubt.
Throughout the multiverse. I don't know.
Is there any other verse?
All right. We're at 2 hours.
Yes.
Exactly, actually.
There you go.
Instead of doing the closing spiel where I name all the everything, just look at the show notes. The show notes will have links to Frederick's stuff. It'll have links to the film festival stuff. It'll be all good. So just look at the show notes if you listen to this so you can follow what Frederick does and learn more about Tomorrow Pictures. Follow the film festivals and the indie channel. And maybe, just maybe, if you're listening to this, you will support indie artists and subscribe to the indie channel. Because if we can get enough subscribers, we are really going to support this community. Could be a beautiful thing.
Yes. 2025, beautiful thing. Support indie and indie channels. 2025. 25 years into the 21st century, people. How about that?